Good morning, everyone. Our lockdown series continues with lists and list builders in SmartSuite-Library. My name is Quentin. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I hope you've all got your little coffees or teas, and we're going to learn all about lists in SmartSuite and TV4Education. Now, obviously, predominantly, we've been used to lists within a library management system, but because TV4Education has been bundled into the SmartSuite application, there are awesome uses that you can use lists for with TV4Education. So stay tuned, let's jump into it and have a look. I'm just going to flick over to my screen here. Okay, and everyone should be able to see my screen. One too far. There we go. All right, so lists are just another one of those widgets that are part of the system. So before we can use the list, we need to log in. The reason behind that is there are a lot of features and functions that are tied to the individual user. We also want to be able to track the kind of resources that our clients are making lists for. Especially with some of the tools that are available with it, where they can share lists to other resources, we want to make sure that we can track that our kids aren't just making silly lists and sending that off to people. Okay, so if you see this widget isn't active yet, it's because the user hasn't yet logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I'm not going to log in as an administrator like we usually do for these sessions. I'm going to log in as a user that has the lowest roles or the lowest rights within our system. And that's going to be a student. Okay, so if I go up to the system menu, I've got some fairly basic rights here. I've got my reservations, I've got search, and I've got my profile, etc., etc. Okay, now if I want to go ahead and create a list, that's the first thing that we want to know how to do. All I need to do is gain access to my schools collection search. All right, now I can do that by clicking the button, or I can just go ahead and perform a search. So we might be interested in science and microbiology. Okay, let's see what the library has on that particular topic there. Okay, whole bunch of resources come up. Now I'm going to start a bit of a list so that I can either create a pick list and go into the library and look for these resources next time I'm on campus, or maybe I just want to create a list of resources that may be relevant for my assignment, or maybe even a list of resources that I have been using for my assignment. So I go over to my list tab. By default, we have a view later list that's available for all the users. But I'm going to go ahead and create my own, and I'm going to call this the Microbiology Assignment List Term 2. Mr. Fernandez's, so I can give it a bit of a description as well. I don't have to, but I can. Mr. Fernandez's class microbiology group assignment resources that we used. All right, and I can go ahead and add that. Now I can see that this is my list. Okay, there's the description of my list, and I can start browsing what's available from the library. So if I go ahead and click on this resource, I can see the information tab. If I click on the next one, I can see the information tab. I can see the reviews and whatnot on that particular resource. When I click on my list, it has pulled across and loaded that resource into the list for me. Now, it hasn't pushed it into my list, but it's sitting there waiting for you to click the plus symbol. If I want to add it in, bam, it's now in my list, and I can tell that it is a catalog record. This is the title of it. Okay, if I keep scrolling, I can click on another resource that looks good as well. I'm going to add that in. I can change my search terms, so I can get rid of science at the top. And I can see everything that's on microbiology. Okay, and again, I can go and add that in. Now let's say that I have jumped out of the system. Okay, I've gone to YouTube, and I've gone microbiology. I found a really cool video on microbiology that I wanted to use for my assignments as well. I'm going to reference that particular video when we submit our group assignment. So I'm going to copy the URL at the top of the screen. Okay, and back in our list at the top, we've got a YouTube icon. If I click on that, it's going to allow me, I'm going to search for it in here. It's going to allow me to search the YouTube library, and then I can plug that particular resource directly into my list as well. Okay. YouTube must be very busy this morning with all the students and teachers searching it. Okay, but once that eventually loads, it will give us a list of all those resources. If you've ever used Smart Classrooms, it's going to react exactly the same way. So it'll give us a list of all the results, and we'll be able to click the plus symbol as well. Now we'll also have the ability to add a website directly in. So if I navigated to youtube.com and I did a search like we did before, instead of searching within the list builder for that YouTube resource, I can also click on the www symbol. Okay, this will allow me to paste my URL in, YouTube video. That's my URL, bit of a description. This was a great resource, especially at 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Okay, and I can add that in as well. So you can see there that we've got a YouTube video and we've got a couple of catalog records. Okay, now I can refer back to this at any time. So when I log in and I see my lists, I can see that I've got my view later and my microbiology assignment list. I can click on that and there's all my resources. If I wanted to load any of those items, I can click on them. That's going to take me directly to that particular resource. I can have a look at the information of it. I can reserve the book. I can check the reviews, etc., etc. Now, if I want to walk into the library and I want to grab these books off the shelf, I can look at them on my mobile phone or my tablet, or I can print a pick list. Okay, and that will take all of the information of those resources, including where they're stored, locations, sublocations, call numbers, spit it out to the printer so I can walk in with a piece of paper. Now, for the librarians, that's going to be an awesome, awesome facility for you so that you can go around when people ask you, when teachers ask you, do you have resources on this topic? You can run around the library, you can quickly add things to the list, then you can hit the pick list and you can go and find them on behalf of the teachers, or you can give that piece of paper to them. Okay. The other thing that we can do with the list builder is we can share them online. All right, so if we move across to the next button here, we have the share list icon. So I'm currently looking at my microbiology list. I click on share, and remember that I am a student. Okay, and because I'm a student, we don't want the ability for them to do a search for a year level, for example, and just tick people's names on that list and then flick the list off to them. So what they have to do is they have to actually enter the email address of each of those individual users. Okay, and we can see here that we have two options: send them a static list or a collaborative list. Now the static list, what's going to happen with that is if this goes off to the user, the recipient is going to be able to open up my list and they're going to be able to look at the resources that I have applied to that list. It's basically going to be a read-only. If we want them to be able to collaborate online, real-time, add things to the list, add notations. So if we've all used a particular book, let's say it was this wine chemistry and biochemistry book, okay? If we've all used it, but we've all referenced different pages, we can have 3 or 4 people adding their own reference notes to the list and to that specific resource all at the same time. And we don't have to be at school, we can all be at home, and we can all be doing this collaboratively, real time from home. Okay, so I'm going to share that as a collaborative list, and then I'm going to hit the share button. Okay, now straight away I can see that it has been emailed to this individual user. Now at any point in time, I can send them a reminder notice and I can add some notations to it as well. Hey, you know, you said that you didn't get the email for my list. I'm sending it to you again. Okay, now what's going to happen on the client side is they're going to receive an email. And the email is going to be very simple. It's going to look something like this. Okay, when they click on that list, it's going to take them to their login so that they'll be able to log in and access the system and access the list. Okay, so I'm going to click on that and I'm going to log in as that individual user. Apologies everyone, Thursday morning, the computer's not able to keep up with all the awesomeness of the list builder. Okay, so I'm just going to take a step back quickly just to refresh before everything crashed on the computer here. Okay, but from the student account, we created a list. We then shared it with our user support at functionalsolutions.com.au, where they received this email. When we clicked on the link, the system then showed us that particular list with all of the resources that are part of that list. So from here as a user, I can click on each of those individual resources and I can check out the bibliographic record of them. Okay, otherwise what I can do is if I go to my school collection and I open up my lists, okay, now remember, this is not the student user, this is that lib user. This has been automatically put onto my lists. So now as I am going through and I'm looking at resources, remembering that we shared it as a collaborative list, I can now add resources to it. Okay, I can open up resources that are already on the system and I can add my own notes. And I can save that. Okay, the only thing that I cannot do as a collaborative user to this list, so not the owner but the collaborator, is I cannot delete any resources from it. That is the sole role of the owner of that particular list. Okay, so now that we've got this list, I've now got 2 users that are engaging with it and we're both adding resources, we're both changing the order of them, we're looking at the resources and we're going through and we're interacting with each other and we don't have to be side by side. Okay, so with the list builder, it's a very, very powerful tool because you've got the ability to print resources, you've got the ability to send static lists, and you've also got the ability for users to collaborate on those lists. But let's take it the next step. Let's say that we don't just have resources that are going to be valuable to our users from the school's collection. We are one of the schools that have taken advantage of the federated searching engine. Now, all of the TV4Education users that are joining us today, so TV4Ed only, not library with TV4Ed, the federated search engine is available to you as well. So if your existing library management system charges you for your federated search system or doesn't have a federated search system or it's too difficult to set up, why don't you jump on and start using the one that's already included with your TV4Education subscription? Okay, now if I go and do the same search, okay, all of my biology resources will show up, okay, and I can check all the information on those. Okay, I can also go over to my Google search, my Gutenberg, my ANZRC, my Britannica, my legal database, anything that I've got a subscription to. Now, if I go to my list and I load up my microbiology assignment, when I click on this resource, it's going to take me directly to the article on EBSCO. Okay, we don't have obviously a active account with EBSCO, but it will automatically log me in and show me the article. Okay, but in the same time as me clicking and having a look, it's also absorbed all the metadata behind that website into the list builder. So if I wanted to, I can go ahead and I can also add that EBSCO article. I can go to the Gutenberg project and I can load a resource from there and I can have a look at the information and what it's going to be doing for me. Okay, yep, that's a really cool ebook. I want to add that to my list as well. Bang, it's in there. So I've now got catalog records from the school's collection. I've got a YouTube video. I've got an EBSCO article. I've got a Gutenberg article. If I'm searching Google within the system and I'm looking at resources that are popping up there, brilliant. This looks like a cool one as well. Let me go ahead and add that in. So it's not restricting you to add resources just from the school's catalogued collection. It's also going to work with TV4Education. It's going to work with your federated searches. It's going to allow you to embed websites that are independent from the SmartSuite or TV4Education platform. You can just type in the URL. If you've got files that are located on your network and you've got the UNC path to those, you can dump them in there as well. And it's going to allow you to have this one list of resources and pull everything in from outside and the World Wide Web into one nice little resource list for you. And at the end of it, if we wanted to print off a bibliography list or a reference list, okay, we can tidy up and delete all the items that we didn't end up using. And then we go export. If we choose PDF, any of the information that the system was unable to locate from the website or that we missed in our cataloging, it's basically just going to ignore it. Okay, it'll hide those tags and it will give us a reference list accordingly. Okay, if we want to be a little bit more particular and we really do want to add that information in, if we choose the text document, what the text document will do is where the information was missing from the website or from the catalog record, it will put a placeholder. So it will say, all right, we're missing the title of the website, insert that information here. We're missing the author, insert that information here. The cataloging record missed the edition, so you need to insert that information here. So we can export that to text. Our students can copy that into the Word documents, fill in all the information that they need to, and then they can submit that as part of their assignment. Okay, so the list builder is an extremely powerful part of the SmartSuite platform. Whether you're using it for SmartSuite-Library or whether you're using it for TV4Education, it doesn't matter. You can, if you're a TV4Education user, create a list of videos for a particular topic. It might be the microbiology topic. You can then share that as a static list to your entire Year 7 faculty. Okay? I didn't show it to you, but as a teacher or a librarian, instead of only inserting the email address of a user, you've got the ability to search for users and tick them. Okay, making it a little bit easier. You don't have to punch in 25 email addresses to share it with 25 students. Okay, now for obvious reasons, we've disabled that feature for students because we don't want them selecting all and having 1,000 kids receive a list that is completely irrelevant to them. Okay, and that's why we've secured it that way. So with the list builder, the possibilities are endless. The basic functions are you can create lists and you can have multiple lists. So you can store as many of those lists as you want. Number 2, you can collaborate online. It can be dynamic, real-time, and you can add notations so that you can export that as part of your bibliography referencing. Number 3, you can do pick lists. So if you want to create lists for students to pick things off the shelves or for teachers to have a look at various resources, you can do that if you don't want to do it online. You've got the ability to add things from the federated search direct. You've got the ability to add external websites and YouTube videos. And you've got the ability to export all that information at the end to that bibliography reference list. Okay, so all of that information is available on our help article website. This is not the first video that we've done on this topic. We do have some more in-depth how-to videos. The lockdown series is based around giving you the basics to get started and then blow your minds with all this extra stuff. Okay, so we haven't gone into the intricacies of step 1, step 2, step 3, but you can see an overview of how it works. Stay tuned for our next episode in the lockdown series that is happening next week. If you want to know exactly which topic we're covering next week, make sure that you subscribe and you click the bell, and that will make sure that whenever we post information saying this event is going to be scheduled next week, you will receive notification of it. Now, if you are going to stick around this afternoon, Jacob is going to be doing our Pro series all on loan limits and the override functions. So make sure that if you are a librarian, you stick around for that. Loan limits, we think, okay, once it's set up, we're just going to leave it, it does itself, which is true, but there are advanced things that you can do with loan limits as well to help you manage what your students and teachers can borrow. Okay, so stick around for that. As I said, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll be able to catch up with you at one of our upcoming series this week. Thank you very much. My name is Quentin, and we'll see you later.